Another individual who is a future Hall of Famer and a two-time champion in her own right was victorious this past Saturday in Atlanta, picking up a win over a former training partner of hers, Miranda Maverick, very much back on track in the flyweight division. She is the one and only Thug Rose Namajunas, and she is kind enough to join us here and now on the program. Hello, Rose. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
It's good to have you back on. Congratulations on the win. A couple days ago, a couple marks on the face, but overall, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel great. Caught up on some sleep, Nothing better than getting your hand raised, and also being healthy too. Yeah, I had couple little scratches and things, but nothing serious. So yeah, I can't be happier.
Caught up on maybe some gardening as well? You got back to that?
Yeah, I know. Man, we came back and everything exploded. It was like, all the good stuff and all the weeds too and everything. So it was just a jungle. And I spent pretty much like half a day just organizing everything. And I kind of needed to redo some things. So I'm happy now to just kind of have a little bit of that off my shoulders so I can kind of, I guess just, yeah, just be the warrior in the garden right now.
Sure. I love that. By the way, congratulations on the radish that we just showed, right? Look at
Oh
that.
yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, my first little radish, yeah, for the season. Yeah, they were really good too. They're called like French breakfast radishes, so they're like a little longer,
Oh.
but like super juicy, super delicious, and I love them.
Are you still working with the bees and the honey and all that stuff?
Yeah, I am, and the guy that gave me the bees, and yeah, I actually just hit him up because like the whole training camp, the bees, I think the queen is kind of old, so like the hive wasn't really expanding as much as I think it should be. So I'm gonna see what we can do about that. Because yeah, at this rate they should be bigger, but they're not doing bad. It's just I think the queen isn't laying as much as she should be. So hopefully we'll get that sorted out soon.
We have a guy who works on our show here, Brad. He's a cameraman. He too has a whole hive and he grows his
Oh,
own.
nice.
But he showed up last week with a massive black eye. The bee stung him in the eyelid.
Oh no, that's
Yes.
terrible.
Has
Yeah,
that ever
he should
happened?
be wearing his. He got to wear his thing, man.
Man. I'm
But
assuming that's
yeah,
never happened to you.
well, so I did get stung a couple times, and I wear my full bee suit now. I mean, I always wore the bee suit, but when I first started, I didn't really like wearing gloves because, just messing around with like the frames and the propolis, and it gets so sticky that like it's just easier to like grab it with your fingers. But one time I got stung on my thumb, nothing happened, and then the next week or the next check, I should say, which was like 10 days later, I got stung in pretty much the same spot and my whole hand swelled up so I couldn't punch
Oh.
for like a good week. And so I think it was just a buildup of like the previous thing. And so I was like, yeah, I can't afford to have anything swell up, so I'm going to be covered from head to toe from now on, as long as I need to be able to punch or do anything really.
I mentioned it when I introduced you, and it was talked about a lot in the build-up to the fight. Former training partner and Walda. Like, how did you feel about this matchup? Would you have preferred not to fight her, or was that made out to be a bigger thing than it was?
No, I definitely didn't prefer to have her as a fight. I mean, looking back in hindsight, I think she like what she presents and brings to the table. I think it was great for me just to you know, like I guess just work on beating that style. And so that was good, but as far as like fighting down in the rankings for one, two, for us training together for so long. It's not like I have a problem with fighting somebody that I have trained with or no. It's just you just don't prefer to do that. So, yeah. So it just kind of happened that way, and I was preferring to fight somebody above me in the rankings. But I understand, like I also felt for her in a sense too, because the last few fights that she had, she was fighting constantly people that were like unranked or somebody below her. So I wanted to give her that opportunity. But yeah, I think just being training partners in a sense, it was kind of strange.
When was the last time you trained together?
Um, the last time we trained together was during the It was after the Aaron Blanchfield fight. I can't remember exactly
Oh, wow.
how
So
like
very
how many.
recently. Oh,
Yeah, we
wow.
wrestled together. It wasn't like for the Aaron Blanchfield fight, we did train together quite often, and then there was like a break after that because she had or no, it was after that fight they called me in to they needed help with some rounds. So yeah, I came in and gave her some rounds after that fight.
Wow. Would you
Mhm.
be open to training with her again?
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to come, I don't know necessarily if she wants to come into the gym, yeah, she's always welcome. You know what I mean? I'm always the door's always open for anybody that wants to get rounds.
Okay. Overall,
Mhm.
were you happy with your performance?
Yes. Yeah, I was. There was things obviously that could have been better or that can always be better. I already kind of know little things that I should have did or like things to work on from going forward, little details, but overall I don't know. I don't understand how anybody could give her, more than possibly one round. Which
Yeah.
during the fight, I thought initially that the first round was mine, like clearly. But when I watched it back, I thought the first round was I could see how somebody might want to give that to her, even though I still don't think she won that round. But I'm saying like I could see maybe somebody else's perspective in that sense. But I don't see how during the fight. I thought to myself maybe she got the second round because she had me in that arm triangle. But thinking like even though in my mind I had her just as much trouble with my rear naked choke, that maybe because people couldn't really see it as much, like um, and then that was the last thing that people thought about was the arm triangle. Because I was so dominant for the entire round that it finished off that way. Maybe that's why people thought like somebody might have thought like the second round. So in my head, I thought maybe okay, first round's mine, second round maybe could be hers, and then I'm like it basically come down to this last round, and I still was gonna try to, I still was looking for the finish the entire fight. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to decision, but um, and I'm the first one to also admit if I feel like I lost a fight, even if it was a close fight or whatever. And anytime it's close, you kind of can't really get too upset with the result. But I just don't see how you could even say she would win 2 rounds. You know what I mean? Like I would say if anybody wants to make an argument, maybe the first. But you don't win a round just by um, getting a reversal and a sub attempt the last 20 seconds of a round. Because before that, like she was getting bopped up, I took her down. I had her in a submission, so we had sub for sub. So anyway, I didn't mean to make this a whole
No, no.
you know what I mean? But I did see, I don't pay attention too much all the time, like what people are saying, but I did kind of see some people like it's just so weird to me. Like I feel like my brain is so opposite from like how normal people think. Like a lot of people were telling me that they thought that I won the Aaron Blanchfield fight, which I know it was close and I could see how maybe somebody could make that case, but I didn't feel like I won.
Wow.
I felt like I kind of gave it away, like kind of just in my soul I just kind of took that sigh of relief where or that not that sigh of relief but that just kind of you just kind of acceptance of
Hmm.
maybe a bad position or something like that. So to me that's where I felt like I lost. And I also there's other fights where or like for example, when I got dropped on my head by Andrade, everybody's like, "Oh, it's a fluke," and I'm like, "No one. What are you talking about? I got
Yeah.
knocked out." Like so it's just it. But then on the flip side, there's certain fights where I'm like, like the rematch with Whaley. There's some people that thought, "Oh, Whaley really won that fight." It's like, dude, like that was a really close fight, but she ended up on her back the last round of that 5 round fight and was not trying to get back up. Like I felt her take that that feeling
Mm.
of that same like acceptance feeling that I talked about in Aaron Blanchfield. I felt that on the flip side with her. So those are the things that I think about as a martial artist. I don't necessarily go like I don't look at like the points necessarily all the time, but I do take that in consideration. But I always think about it too, like, okay, if this also what is the story of this fight? What is after this fight? Who do I feel like won if this fight were to continue on? You know what I mean? And I know that's not like judging criteria, but I kind of do think about that sometimes too. And I guarantee you, if that was a no time limit fight,
Hmm.
I'm never getting tired. You know what I mean? Like within this last one. So anyway, didn't mean to rant about all that stuff, but that's just kind of some of the, I guess, the thought process that I go through.
Well, I thought it was a great performance. I thought you looked great. I thought it was very easy to determine that you won. But then in
Yeah.
the immediate aftermath, you did mention the night before and the morning of the fight that you were sort of battling some stuff. Can I ask about that? What was going on?
Nothing like abnormal. I just, yeah, very normal, like pre-fight nerves.
Okay.
It's just weird because I didn't really have much of it leading up to the fight. I usually have way more like, I don't know, emotional, mental
Oh,
breakdowns
wow.
leading up to the fight. Yeah. I think all
More,
fighters
but
do.
more than so. This was actually not out of the ordinary at all.
No.
Okay.
And yeah, if you don't have them, like I guess nervous moments that you just got to turn it into excitement. So, but if you don't feel that, I think that something, unless you're like psycho, I think something that you ain't like your body needs to get ready, because you're putting yourself, everybody has a chance. Everybody, no matter how much, you prepare and things like that and you're ready, it's like, anything can happen. So you hope for the best result, but I think giving it into God's hands and just kind of letting go of that and not trying to instill my will and just kind of just doing my best and kind of being content with that. That's like the hardest part. But once you do that, then you can just kind of be free to perform.
And I'm sure by now, like this is all old hat for you. I mean, you've been there, done that
Yeah.
countless
It's just
times.
it never truly goes away, or at least it hasn't. And I think the day that it does is when it really gets dangerous, or at least it becomes, yeah, like I don't know. Like I can't imagine, maybe there's a 1% of fighters that it just goes away, or they just have like hundreds of fights and it is just another day in the office. But I mean, it's weird because we make it bigger than what it is, but then it's also like a really big moment too. Like it's both at the same time, like there's everybody watching, and it's this whole thing, and your whole trajectory of your life one moment can dictate where you go in life, but then it also is just a moment. And at the end of the day, the people that love you and the people that are there for you are going to still be there regardless. So it's just kind of like putting all those things into perspective, but you care, so you want to do your best. And I think some of the things that maybe were popping up for me was like past regret, past mistakes that I made. Like, am I going to do that thing where I like just, I don't know, like, am I not like gonna quit, but am I gonna kind of quit? You know what I mean? Like, am I gonna get to that crossroads and just be like, you got me, or whatever? I don't know. You know what I mean? So, and it's like we're human, like it can happen, and you never really know until you're there.
I find all of this to be so fascinating, the mental side of the game, because for 15 minutes, like people don't realize what those 5 minutes are like, what a round is like, and how exhausting it is. And you're put on display, and you have to like build up 3-4 months just to get to this 50 minutes. And one mistake changes everything,
Yeah,
your trajectory. And now you go to the back of the line, and you're built like there's so much freaking pressure on you guys.
I know.
I do not envy you. I do not envy you at all. And the only reason I brought that up, of course, I know. I've talked to the likes of GSP who have told me like he would throw up before walking out, before Burt Watson
Yeah.
would come into his room, and so I mean, and that's the creme de la creme, and you are in that category as well. I just wonder, like at this point, what's the motivation at this point in your life and in your career? Why do you keep doing this? What keeps you going?
Yeah, definitely that flyweight belt for sure.
You care about
That's
that
pretty
because
much
I feel
that's
like there
it.
was a time where like you didn't really want the belt or care about the belt. Why is that the thing?
Um, Well, it's not that I didn't ever care about the belt. I mean, what drove me it's is it don't identify me. Like if I don't get there, then I'm not going to like think less of myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm a child of God, and that's what identifies me.
Hmm.
I'm saved by the blood of Jesus. Like there's nothing in this world materialistic that can make me change who I am, or make me act different, or make me treat people differently, or look at myself differently. Like, so winning and losing doesn't define any of us. And so that's the whole message of why I said what I said when I first became champ, is because it's like I could just see this culture of like idolization of this belt and this materialistic thing. Like, obviously there's an achievement that you overcome yourself and your, the demons that's in your head that's trying to tell you all these negative things and trying to provoke fear and control you, and you overcome that and you surpass that and you're not afraid. Like, you're courageous in front of danger, and it's all about like also congratulating your opponent regardless of what happens afterward. Like, we can hug each other and it'd be fine. Like, who cares? We're all here to like come here and be inspired, and hopefully we can go home and just be with our families at the end of the day and not be too messed up. You know what I mean? But so that's why it's not that I don't want to have that achievement of see if I can do it. You know what I mean? But if I can't, or if it's not meant to be, then I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh my gosh, like I'm worthless. You know what I mean?
So how far away do you think you've won 3 of 4? That's a big win there. How far away do you think you are from the belt?
I'd say one more win.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And
I don't know. You know what I mean?
sure,
That's just
of course,
my thoughts.
it's a lot of things that come into play. I saw you mention
Yeah.
Grasso and some other names. That's the one that stood out to me as one that made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You would get really close. If Valentina is still the champ, speaking of training partners, that's someone and I think have admiration and respect for. What do you think
Yeah.
that would be like if it ever happened where you'd have to fight her? Would that be weird?
It would definitely be weird. I like her too much, but
Yeah.
at the same time, like, I mean, we did also, like I said, I'm not opposed to fighting people that I've trained with before. But it's not something that like it would definitely be bittersweet, because on the one hand, like as a martial artist fan and mixed martial artist fan, like she's somebody that I really look up to, and is somebody that I never want to see lose. You know what I mean? But if I was matched up against her, it'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do my best, and I want to give her also, because I know how real of a martial artist she is, and she wants to test herself. She wants to be pushed to the limit, and so it would kind of be that weird thing, but and we just have to embrace it. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it would be bitter in that sense, but then it would also be sweet in the sense of I get to test myself against the bullet. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just, I guess, and yeah, I don't know.
It does sound like we're getting her versus Zhang next, maybe.
Okay.
How do you feel about that when you know her? Obviously, you know Zhang Weili very well as well. How do you think that plays out?
I lean towards Valentina in that one. I mean, I think that Valentina or Whaley has definitely grown a lot, and she's gotten better. So I do think that she can she's really strong for her size too. So I don't think she would have to necessarily, and she could try to use maybe her speed to her advantage or something like that. But um I don't know. I just see Valentina's grappling being better. I also see I don't know. Yeah, it's I definitely lean towards Valentina on that one though.
Georgia is one of the few states that actually releases the purses after the events. Some states will release sort of like, well, they'll either not release or they'll put out fake numbers and things like that. I think Georgia does
Yeah.
it on the up and up, and it's fascinating to watch, but or to read about and to look at from this perspective. But how do you feel about how much you're earning getting out there and that allows people to comment on who's getting what?
Man, yeah, it definitely was an interesting thing. I didn't know that I always remember them releasing like bogus numbers
Yeah.
and
Yes.
fake numbers like for the longest time. Um but I'm gonna be honest, it was accurate this time. At least for me. I don't know about everybody else, but so I don't know. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean?
Does it bother you?
No, only because I'm actually very proud of what I've like worked up to at this point, because there's a lot of patience for a long period of time. And I think it's just nice to know that I feel like there's been many moments I feel like where I could have maybe been bitter or ungrateful. And there has been times like in the past where I've just been like kind of like felt entitled to stuff, you know what I mean? And but I never really said anything about it or whatever. And not even I'm not even talking about like money wise, just like situations or just with people in general. And and so I guess in a sense it's like, well, number one, I think it's a great testament to, my manager and things like that, and Brian and stuff. Like we have a long relationship, and there's been some kind of twists and turns, and it's just kind of cool to get back to, I guess, back together and just kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
What you're trying to say is you freaking earned it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, you deserve even more than that. And so
Well,
you
I
should be proud.
appreciate that. I
You
appreciate that. And to me, it's like, I don't, I just feel like it's just nice to get to a point where it's like, okay, just letting other people do the talking. If other people think I deserve something, let them say it. Like, I'm not gonna be out here like, I need a title shot, or I need this, I need that, I deserve this, I deserve that. Yeah, like let my actions show that. And that's what I've been trying to do. Hopefully it's been showing that way. But I'd rather people like tell me what I am, as opposed to say that, speak for me, I should say, than me go out and be like, man, I'm this, I'm that, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I say I'm the best, but I'm just trying to pump myself up.
sure.
You know what I mean?
No, it's good.
So
It's good
yeah,
to have someone in the trenches that you trust that can negotiate and do stuff. I know there was a period where you didn't have that, but I think if you have
yeah,
someone that you trust, it's a good thing to have to deal, to sort of be the good cop to your bad cop, or vice versa. The bad cop to your good cop would be more
yeah,
apropos. So I was happy to see that. But like I said, if I'm being honest, I think you even deserve more than that because you are a two-time champion and a legend and still very relevant in your weight
well, thank you.
class. Could you chill on the jumping into the river with the dog though? Because that, I mean, like you still have some fights, and I feel like this is
Yeah.
dangerous stuff. What's going on here? I mean, this isn't just like a jump
uh
in the lake here. This is scary
yeah.
stuff.
No, it's a fast river. But the thing is I know this river. This is our spot. We have a kind of a place that we go do ice baths in there, and just hang out and stuff. And so I do know the landscape a little bit. So I wouldn't just do that with any rushing river,
Okay.
obviously. And even like with my dogs and stuff, like Roscoe's a little bit, he's more like a puppy, so he doesn't really know. Like right after that, after like before the camera comes up, I like grab him by his neck and like pull him to the side, because he's not as good of a swimmer as like Mishka is. But and the all the snow melted at that point, so it's really high right now. It's at its highest point.
Ah,
So it was just funny because we went out there. It was right before the fight or leaving, and I needed to do my last ice bath. And I was like, I don't feel like doing it at home. Let's go out to the mountain. And so I stayed in there for like 6 minutes. But then like once I got out, I was like, man, I kind of want to jump in,
wow.
like just to get that little adrenaline spike. You know what I mean? And but then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. It is pretty, it is pretty sketch right now. But then, huh? Oh, yeah. And well, anyway, so yeah, I just decided at the last second. I was like, nah, I can't be scared of this.
And you did it, but try not
Yeah.
to do it too often because
No, no, no. I'm
and
not. I'm not really like a daredevil. Like well, we rebuke devils, but I'm just saying, like the
yes, yes, yes,
expression.
yes, yes.
I'm not looking. I'm not like an adrenaline junkie necessarily. I mean, there's time, but when every once in a while I'll get in the mood for doing something a little adventurous, and yeah, and then I fully commit.
By the way, Mishka's still around?
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's
Amazing. How old is she
yeah,
now?
she's going on 12.
Oh, wow. I remember you showing up
Yeah.
to like the media days and all that with her way back in the day.
Yeah, she's a little more sensitive to like loud, high pitched noises and stuff, so it's not as it's just it would be hard for her. But yeah, she's still very like athletic and spry, and she gets in the ice, or she used to get in ice baths with me, but now she'll jump in the sauna with me and stuff. So she's still part of the team.
Also, by the way, I saw that you were on The Ultimate Fighter. What was it like being back
That
all
was
these years
cool. I
later?
mean, yeah, it definitely was different being at the PI. It kind of like, yeah, it was cool seeing Raquel and just kind of seeing everybody else be in that situation and stuff. But it felt quite different than it just made me feel like, oh man, so much time has gone by.
It's a little bit of a different thing as opposed to like the
Yeah.
warehouse back in the day where you were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was way more of a grungier feel.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. It's cool that they're bringing back some of the old champs. By the way, we were talking about the Beehive, and I'll let you go in a moment. This happened to our colleague, our cameraman's Beehive. So this is his
Oh.
home. Look at this.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, they love to eat the bees.
Look at that.
Oh no. Yeah.
Has that ever
Wow.
happened?
No, because we live in city limits, but I do have so our friend that has the river spot, he just got a beehive out there. He caught a swarm actually, and so now he's a new beekeeper for the first time. And there is bears and moose and all kinds of stuff out there.
Oh my!
So yeah,
This is
so they
terrifying.
say to yeah, they say to get like a bear fence around it or something like that. But
Okay, so he
it
did it.
looks like there's a fence right there, but
Yes, look at
I
this.
see. Oh wow, yeah.
They're going to
And you
town
know
here.
what's funny is I was told that they're not even after the honey, they're after the bees. Like they eat the bees.
They eat the bees.
Suppose that's what I was told. I don't know how true that is, but that's somebody told me that.
Golly, and there's a third one coming in there. So I hope you guys aren't
Yeah.
dealing with this. This is. I would move if
Yeah.
this happened. I would just leave.
Yeah, no, definitely Colorado's a little crazy. And now they've like released wolves out here too.
Oh
So I'm
dear.
like, yeah, it's a little crazy in the mountains. So we in the city though.
All right. Well, stay safe. Congrats. Well done. And appreciate you coming on. As always, enjoy some time off here. Enjoy the gardening and all the stuff that comes with it. And looking forward to the next one. Thanks as always for the time, Rose.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, there she is, the great Thug Rose Namajunas, kind enough to join us. Always appreciate her time, and good to see her still doing her thing all these years later. And yes, she talked about the purses. I talked to them about it beforehand. It says 500,000. That's legit, and she deserves that. It's a 250 show / 250 win bonus, but considering her time, considering what she's done, considering who she is, I would argue she deserves more than that. But that is good. I think she was, it's fascinating to see this, and some might say it's like, oh, you're getting to their personal business. I mean, like I always say, like we know what Kevin Durant makes to the penny, and so it does give you good insight into what these fighters really make. Buckley, Usman didn't have a win bonus. Like things like that, very interesting to me. But shout out to Rose, the highest paid fighter on the card. Shout out to Cody Garbrandt, got a nice little check as well. And shout out to Georgia for actually revealing these purses and not the fake numbers. I hate when people write about the fake numbers when they're very clearly fake. Oh, Islam Makhachev made $75K for the win over Dustin Poirier. I'm making that number up, but you get the point. Yeah. Silliness. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.